Hi everybody, this video is going to go over how to use Science Direct to help you find research articles to use in an essay, but also how to read the information to find out how to cite this correctly on a Works Cited page. So I'm starting with our base resource, which is the Excelsior Online Writing Lab. Over on the left-hand side under citation and documentation, we are using MLA style. We are looking at MLA Works Cited, and this is just the base guide page. What I like about this page is over on the right-hand side, it tells you what elements you're looking for to create your Works Cited entry for the source, and it includes the punctuation that you use. And of course, you can expand each of these for more information about how to do each of these elements. But now let's look at Science Direct. So this is a really great open source database to use. So most of the articles that you are citing from this are going to have two containers. The first container, and I will show you what that here. The first container is who published the article first. And this starts from the title of a journal or newspaper and goes all the way through the page numbers where it was originally published. The second container is where you actually found the information. And so we are going to use Science Direct for this example, but you might also find through PubMed or EBSCO or JSTOR or ProQuest or some other database. If you are using an open source database, however, like PubMed or Science Direct or Google Scholar, it may be a container, but it is not actually named in your Works Cited entry. That's where I see a lot of students kind of mess that up, is they put Science Direct into the Works Cited entry, but MLA says that we don't do that for open source databases. So using Science Direct, I'm just going to put in my search terms. I'm using adolescent sleep and school start times. And then I hit search. And when I do that, I'm going to get 20,000 results. The issue here is the same issue that you find with Google Scholar and PubMed, is that it will give you articles that you can't read the whole article. You can only read an abstract or clips, or it'll link you to a page where they want you to pay for the article. Don't do that. Do not buy that. And here's a good example. If I just click on this very first one, which looks like a good article, it gives me snippets. That is not the article. That is somebody else's, like, here's your main idea from these pieces. And then it gives you little bits, and you see these little dots at the end say that this basically continues on in the article, but this is not the article itself. Up here, it says access through your institution. Now, you can try to see if your school has paid for that, or purchase a PDF. That is not what you want, okay? Do not pay for this. You could take this to your media center or library and see if they could access it or if they could purchase it, but don't spend your money on resources for your articles. What you want to do, though, is trim this list down into the stuff that you can actually access. So if you scroll down the left-hand side, what you want to go is to where it says access type, and you click on the box that says open access, because that's what you want, the stuff that you can read without having to pay for it. So now when I look at these, it'll say, here's the title and here's a view PDF, view PDF, view PDF. That means that when I click on that, I can actually access the text of the article itself. So I'm actually going to use this one, this very first one, as an example. This is the actual PDF of the article. I'm going to need that for my page numbers. So when I'm doing my in-text citations, I'm going to come here and say, all right, I'm going to use this quote right here. That's going to be on page 2808. That needs to go in my in-text citation for that quote. Okay. You can also just click on the title, and this is how it is presented to you by Science Direct. And it gives you the background and abstracts, and it gives you like the short version here, but this is not where you cite from. Okay, we're just going to use this to create the Works Cited entry. Your in-text citations must reflect the page numbers that you can access here through the PDF of the article. So if I'm going to use this to create my Works Cited entry, so according to MLA, the first thing I need is the author. Now, if it's just one author, you do last name, comma, first name, period. If it is two authors, you do last name, comma, first name, the word and then the second author's name just normal style, and then a period. However, if an article has 3 or more authors, we use et al. So you do last name, comma, first name for the very first author listed. Then you put a comma and the words et al. Et space al period. That tells me as a reader, hey, there were at least 3 or more authors for that source. So here, these are all of the authors that are listed. So that's way too many. We're going to pull the first one and then put et al. So it would be full comma, Kelsey M period. Please do give initials. Initials need a period. Then you would put a comma, et al. Period. After that, after the author, is the title. So journal article titles get quotation marks and capital letters. This one is capitalized perfectly. However, if this was not capitalized correctly, MLA says, hey, you need to go in and fix that capitalization for your works cited entry. You can use copy and paste, or you could just type that in there, put a period after policies, and make sure that there are closing quotation marks or quotation marks around the title. Periods always go on the inside of that closing quotation mark. So the period comes first, then the quotation mark. After that, you need the title of the container. So we are moving on to container 1. Container means who published this information first. And I'll give you a hint, it wasn't Science Direct. This was published originally in, you look at the top, the Journal of Nutrition. That is the journal title. That would come next. That's the title of the container. It is capitalized. We don't need the word the. We can just use Journal of Nutrition. And it needs to be in italics. So that would go first in italics. And then, according to this, we would put a comma. Then would be other contributors. Now, those are like translators and editors. For the most part, they are usually listed underneath your authors. Here we don't have any. MLA says if you don't have an element, you skip it and go to the next thing. Okay? Then we need version and number. That means volume and issue number. So if you look up at the top, it's written right here, but we use the abbreviations VOL period 151 for volume 151, and then comma. We don't use the word issue. We use NO period for number, and then 9, and you would put a comma. That would be your version and number. Publisher, we don't have to worry about because it's the title of the container. So you don't list elements twice. If it's already in the title of the container, then we don't have to list it again here. The next thing is the date. All right, so here it says September 2021. Now it does, in your works cited entry, don't spell out September, use the abbreviation. So you would use SEPT period 2021 and then a comma. Then it says location. So for a journal's location, that is the page numbers that it was originally printed on. So here, this would be pages. So if it was a single page, you'd use P period. If it's multiple pages like this, you would use PP period. And if it had like random pages throughout the journal, you would give the first number and a plus after it. Here it tells us this is pages 2808 to 2815, so you would put PP period and those numbers. And then you would put a period because that is the location of the very first place that this was published, this particular article. So that is container 1. Now we would move on to container 2, and it's the same information. The title of the container, you found this through Science Direct. However, because Science Direct is an open source database, MLA says we don't have to put that because your DOI is going to take you directly to this. So we don't have to put that. If you found it in ProQuest or something else, you would need to put that in there. And it would be in italics, by the way. Other contributors, we don't have them. Version and number, no, Science Direct doesn't do that. Publisher and date, we don't have to worry about that. The only thing that we need from container number 2 is the location, and that for this is the DOI. Or a permalink if you have that. If you don't have a DOI and you have a permalink, you could use that. If you do not have that, then you would just copy and paste the URL up here at the top. But if you look down here, it gives you, here's your DOI. And so you would just copy this and paste it, and it is actually typed correctly. And so you just copy and paste that into your works cited page, and then a period would go at the end of that. So if you wanted to see what this would look like in your works cited entry, here is what it would look like. So you'd have your author, including the period after M for their initial, comma, et al. The title in quotation marks with the period on the inside of the closing quotation mark. Journal of Nutrition in italics, volume, issue number, date, pages. The second location is just your DOI. If your instructor wants you to leave the active hyperlinks, that's fine. However, MLA generally says we don't want things that look different. So we don't want underlining and we don't want blue, like it shows up automatically formatting when you paste it in there. So the easiest way to fix that is to hover over it and right click and select remove hyperlink. And now it's just plain font, and most instructors are going to want that. So this is what the Works Cited entry would look like for a Science Direct article, and you can use this as a model for when you are trying to create your own Works Cited entries for different articles. I hope this helps. Good luck on your project, and have a great day.